What is up, everyone? It's Quinn here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going through my top 12 defense rankings for week 2 of the NFL season. I've already posted my top 20 quarterback and tight end rankings. I'll have my top 40 running backs and wide receivers coming out tomorrow. But this video is all about the defenses. If you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, questions, comments, feel free to drop them down below. But let's just dive right into it here. And starting off in tier 1 with my number 1 defense, I'm going with the Ravens. And it may seem shocking to have a defense ranked number 1 the week after they just gave up, 40 plus points. But this is just an infinitely better matchup going up against the Browns compared to arguably the best offense in the league with the Bills. The Browns have the lowest implied point total all the way down at 17. And so, although it wasn't a great week 1 for the Ravens, this is a real bounce back opportunity. I think it's a solid defense, and this is just one of the offenses you want to target here with the Browns. And then pretty much I think the other main target you want to look at for an opposing offense is the Rams matchup going up against the Titans. This Rams defense is really strong. They held the Texans to only 9 points. The Titans are tied for the second lowest implied point total. And we saw the Broncos really give this Titans offense a tough time. They sacked Cam Ward 6 times, forced 2 fumbles. I actually thought Cam Ward played pretty well, all things considered, but he's still a rookie quarterback. There's going to be some mistakes thrown in there. And then his supporting cast is just not good. His best pass catcher is Calvin Ridley. I thought overall his group of weapons really let him down. So I'm confident in the Rams defense. And then I also just really like the matchup here, which is why they're in tier 1. Now looking at tier 2, going to start off this tier with the San Francisco 49ers going up against the Saints. The Saints are tied with the Titans for the second lowest implied point total. The 49ers had a very solid week 1 going up against the Seahawks. This is also kind of just betting against the Saints offense. They were fine in week 1, but they don't scare you. I like this 49ers defense. Good combination of a solid defense going up against a favorable offensive matchup. Also in this tier, we have the Broncos going up against the Colts. Now, I know the Colts went out, had a very impressive week 1, dropped 33 points on the Dolphins. I'm not fully sold that this is going to be a really good, great offense. I'm not even sold that they're going to be above average. I think it's very possible they could come back down to earth. You guys remember the Saints last year? I want to say they dropped 40 points in back-to-back games to start off the season. Then obviously we know how that turned out. The Broncos are one of, if not the best defense in the NFL. Like I talked about with the Titans offensively, they sacked Cam Ward 6 times. They forced multiple fumbles. I think we're going to see the Broncos win this matchup against the Colts. And then my final tier 2 team, it is going to be the Cardinals. They just start off the season with back-to-back solid matchups, played the Saints in week 1. Now they're going up against the Panthers. And I did have some hope here for this Panthers offense. And I'm not saying they're just completely cooked after 1 week, but it was not a great showing from Bryce Young in this offense going up against the Jaguars. That should have been a decent matchup. And they really, did not come through, only scored 10 points. We just saw the Cardinals hold the Saints to 13. I really like the Cardinals as a top 5 defense this week. Now, moving into tier 3, I think this is where we start to get away from just the smash spots for these fantasy defenses. I'm going to go with the Cowboys going up against the Giants. Obviously, you lose Micah Parsons. That's a big hit to your defense. I thought they were fine in week 1, held a good Eagles offense to 24 points, only gave up 3 points in the second half. And then this is just a really nice matchup here against the Giants. I am not scared of this offense. They did not look good in week 1, only scored 6 points. So I like the Cowboys here in my number 6 spot. Then at number 7, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Seahawks. Now, the Steelers did not come out and have a great week 1. I honestly thought both the Steelers and Jets were really solid defense plays because I just thought straight up they had good defenses, and then also I thought they had favorable matchups. This ends up being a shootout. I think both teams ended up hitting 30 points. I still think the Steelers can bounce back here. I am not afraid of the Seahawks matchup. They did not look great in week 1. They're tied for the 4th lowest implied point total. I do think this is a nice bounce back opportunity here for the Steelers defensive unit. And then moving into tier 4, going to start off this tier with the Vikings. Brian Flores is always going to make it tough for opposing quarterbacks. Struggled a little bit early on against the Bears, but they really closed that game strong. They're an opportunistic defense. They're going to force turnovers. Last year, they led the NFL in interceptions. I want to say they also scored 3 defensive touchdowns. So they're a tough matchup. Falcons don't project super well according to Vegas. Vikings coming at number 8. Number 9, I have the Houston Texans. I thought this defense looked really good in week 1. They held the Rams to 14 points. The Texans are 2.5-point favorites in this game. Bucks implied point total all the way down at 20.5. And also, this Bucks offense wasn't necessarily lighting it up in week 1. I thought Baker really put the ball in harm's way going up against the Texans that could, come back to bite them. Then at number 10, I have the Buffalo Bills. Just like the Ravens, obviously, not a unit that was startable for fantasy in week 1, but this is a much better matchup. I do think the Jets looked great. I thought Fields looked awesome, but I'm going to need to see more than a 1-game sample size to fully buy in and actually fade defenses that I think are solid. So even though the Bills kind of struggled, Jets had a boom week. Vegas still has the Jets as the 6th lowest implied point total team. So I still view the Bills as a playable option this week. Then I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks going up against the Steelers. This was a defense that was very solid last year, 6th in fantasy points per game. I think they're going to be very good once again. We did see the Steelers go out, have a great game. Aaron Rodgers threw for 4 touchdowns. Just like the Jets, I'm not fully sold that this is going to be, a super confident plus offense. The Seahawks defense looked good in week 1, held the 49ers to 17 points. I think they're fine as, towards the end of the top 12. And then the last defense I have here, the Detroit Lions going up against the Bears. Lions defense, not necessarily a great performance in week 1 against the Packers. It was just a tough overall game for the entire Lions roster. I think this Bears offense is still iffy. They were cooking early on in that game, really struggled, pretty much over the last 3 quarters. So I don't think they're firing on all cylinders yet. I think the Lions are a fine option here in tier 4. And so that is going to wrap it up for my top 12. If you guys enjoyed, do me a huge favor, hit that like button and subscribe. Check out the other rankings videos. Thank you all for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.